Okay, well, a few more chords left. Good to the last drop. There we are. Okay. Ooh, my apologies for the second week in the row. I've got this new laptop that I thought could handle the live streaming, and it is just not up for the task. So I promise by the next time we do this, we will have a new and improved laptop with some enhanced capabilities. Okay, with that said, if it is Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, that means it is time for the goRIA live stream. And today we have with us, as you can see, special guest. Diana, thanks for joining us here today.
Hello,
All right.
hello. Thanks for
Hello.
having me. Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. All right. So, for those of you that have been watching this live stream for a while, we like to use this to highlight what is new on goRIA, specifically the website www.goria.com. And really pleased to tell everyone that we just hit today. It's up on the website right now, featuring Diana Cabrices. And this is actually part of a new kind of series we're going to do. And you're going to see a lot more of Diana and a few other SMEs, subject matter experts, in 2024. And what we're trying to do is really leverage the reach that Diana has. She's got such an amazing network of advisors, and we're letting those advisors literally guide us about what they want to hear about. And Diana was kind enough a few weeks ago to poll her network saying, what do you guys want to hear about? We gave them 4 choices. The top 2, technology won. Close second was marketing. We'll probably come back to that next year for sure. But number 1 was RIA Tech, one of my RIA space. And what we came to find out is, as Diana mentioned in her post today, there's good news and bad news, both the same, a lot of choices. So with that said, Diana, please take it away. Give the audience here today a little bit of a taste, right? We don't want to give away the whole podcast. We want them to go to goria.com. But what do we talk about? What do you think were some of the salient points?
Yeah, so it's always good to create content that fits what your audience really wants. And that's exactly why we started with the poll. We know whether you're breaking away or you're, maybe 1 year, 2 years into being independent, there's a lot of options around you with technology. So beyond technology, right? There's marketing, there's every other aspect of running your business. There's the customer relationship side. There's being that financial coach as well as being an actual advisor. So always a lot on the mind for advisors. We wanted to simplify it. We wanted to start with where we knew you want to start, and that was technology. We covered quite a bit of ground. We could have covered a lot more. We could have talked for hours about all the technology out there. And what we did was we laid some foundation for the essentials, right? So when you're going independent, what are those essentials in your business? The CRM, the custodian. We talked about some changes that are happening there. There's definitely been a huge shift in the CRM space. I think traditionally we had some great players, and then you saw some newer players back, call it 10 years ago, and they've just really grabbed market share by storm with ease of use, simplicity, intuitive interfaces. I think all of us know, it's one thing to adopt a technology. It's another to have to train and learn how to use it. And if it's not intuitive, you're probably going to give up, or, your office is not going to be as hands-on as they need to be. And the CRM is truly the hub. It's the place where you're tracking all of the historical data with all of your relationships, not just your clients, but also your prospects, your COIs, your partners. So I believe it's the hub. Now, you can go online on FinTwit, on Twitter, X, I guess you call it these days. And there's, no, the CRM's not the hub, the custodian's the hub. So we think about the custodian as well. And that's a very important element and foundation to any technology, to any of your entire business processes as an independent advisor serving your clients. And so we got to talk about how that shift is taking place. We're starting to see some movement from maybe more archaic processes and paperwork to now, companies like Altruist, for example, who have launched just completely automated systems, automated account transfers. Everything is digital. It's fast, it's easy, it's done. And that's what advisors want, right? They want to take away as much headache as possible. So essentials, your CRM, your custodian. We also talked about some other trends. We're seeing a lot of trends in investment data and analytics, right? How do you really validate what you're saying, but doing it with data? And beyond that, we talked about estate planning technology and how more advisors are turning into that realm. And, as before, it was one of those things you just referred out to very high cost legal avenues. Similar to a financial plan, an estate plan is not a one and done thing. It has to be constantly monitored and updated and changed. And the advisor is just in such a strong position, a relationship position with their clients to be able to do that. So touching on that, sales enablement, client advice engagement. We talked about the rise of advisor directories, how to really put yourself out there beyond your website, beyond social media. So that's quick highlight. You have to listen to the podcast. I'm not going to give it all away now. Go listen to the podcast. It was such a good conversation.
It really was. And it's such an important starting point. And that's why I'm glad we're doing this as a series with you, because there's a lot more follow-up to unpack in 2024 on this. But to bring back something that you touched upon just a moment ago in this conversation, writing the check for that technology is just the first step. You write the check and you're not done. I'll tell you that from firsthand experience. We've gone through 2 tech stacks. Our first tech stack was a disaster, and I talk about that in the podcast, and some tips on how to not mess up as badly as I messed up. But it's not so much as just writing a check, right? You have to learn how to use it. You need to get adoption from your advisors. Are historically kind of picky, and for good reason. And one of the many things that I love about the RIA space, which I say almost at every one of these live streams, are the options that you have, right? If you're at XYZ wirehouse and you're thinking to yourself, wow, this technology is not good. This technology is archaic. Well, there are choices out. You want to start your own RIA and build your own tech stack, which is the route I took. So I'm very picky with how we like to do things. But the beauty of the RIA space, there's hundreds of great RIAs you could plug into, shop them. And I would bet dollars to donuts, right? You talk to 10, 15 different RIAs, you don't have to talk to all 200, but you'll find one that probably is a tech stack that's not done anyhow. So if you don't want to build it, I like doing that kind of stuff. That's sort of my jam. But if you don't want to build it, you could probably find a good way to tuck in. And the estate planning thing, we talked about technology, but estate planning is technology these days, right? So we're looking to add that to our tech stack, and we're talking to the usual suspects, vanilla, trust and will, and stay tuned. I'll let you know which one I ended up choosing, I guess. But it doesn't mean it's the best one either. And I want to be clear on that. And I think, Diana, you'll agree. There is no such thing, I don't think, as the best almost anything, but it's the best for me. Can you talk a little bit about that too? I know you mentioned that during the podcast, and you have some really good thoughts on that as well.
That's such a great point. And this year, I've gotten connected with a lot more consultants in the RIA space that focus on operations, that focus on technology enablement, adoption, and that's been my takeaway as well from all those conversations. Is what was plugged in here and worked really well may not necessarily plug in well over here. Just on the topic of estate planning, like Vanilla, Trust and Will, Wealth.com, Encore Estate Plans, I love all of them. In fact, I did a whole review on all of these different tools. I spent time, over the course of 3 months, really diving deep, doing research, and I think there's a perfect fit for everyone across all of those tools. So, again, outside of estate planning technology, I couldn't agree more. I love what you had to say about not building it. It's almost like don't build it, adopt it, right? When you can just easily plug into these RIA firms that already have put so much time and effort into these tech stacks and be able to come in and get the hands-on support you need. I think that's the difference. Every technology company out there, and having worked in SaaS, right, software as a service, for the last 7 years of my career, there's always going to be some form of training by the technology company, and that's great. But again, RIA is different. The way you sort of mold and shape the technology into your company, where at in the process of working with a client or a prospect does this fit for us? How do we present the technology? There's policies, procedures around all of that. So not to deter anyone from starting from scratch by any means. If you're getting started, you probably don't need all the technologies in the book. You just need a few of those core ones, and you'll build on from that. But I love what you had to say. Don't necessarily build it, come in, interview these RIAs, adopt what they already have, learn, and that's only going to help you in the future.
Absolutely. Well, that seems like a good place to wrap up for today. And maybe we'll come back early in the new year with a ski report. We were talking a little bit about skiing offline. So we'll kind of compare notes on that. One of my
That
favorite
sounds
activities
great.
this time of year. Okay. So Diana, thanks for joining us. For those of you in the audience, check out the podcast. Really, it's some great content. And there'll be more to come with Diana throughout 2024. So for now, on behalf of goRIA News, I'm Chuck Vela, and we'll see you next Wednesday, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Thanks for joining us. Take care.